February 29th, the Pittsburgh Pirates acquired Matthias Plotnick and a conditional 7th-round pick from
You said Pittsburgh Pirates. That's baseball. Hello, everybody. My name's Logan.
And my name's Lance.
And welcome to The Drop. Now, today we're going to be talking about trading and the trading deadline that actually ends today at 3. So it actually has already ended if my clock over here. Yeah, it's 3:58 right now as we were recording this. And the trading deadline ended at 3. And there are some trades that made a lot of sense and some trades that didn't. Some people traded like maybe just one trade. And we're going to get into all of that starting from February 21st onwards until today. And we're also going to throw in a little element of you guys voting for who won the trade. And we're going to do this all via sportsnet.ca. And it's going to show who won the trade of what you guys think. And we're going to give our opinions before we click the vote button.
Starting on February 21st with our first trade, the Toronto Maple Leafs traded Colin Smith and a 2016 4th-round pick to Colorado for Sean Matthias. In my mind, this trade's probably pretty even.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make any team that much better. I don't think you may see the fruition of this trade and how it really helped either team for maybe a year or so.
Okay, now on to our first instance of voting in this, and let's see. Yep, it looks like Toronto. You guys think Toronto Maple Leafs won with a 74% over a 25%. Now, that may be just because of the fact that they also got a 2016 4th-round pick. I believe so, but me and my dad think it's pretty even. Now, on Monday, the 22nd, it looks like the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Raffi Torres, a 2nd-round pick in 2017, a 2nd-round pick in 2018, and they traded them for Roman Polak and Nick Stalling. And it seems like Toronto got the better deal. What do you think, Lance?
I would have to say San Jose got the better deal, especially because they got defenseman Roman Polak, who is a stay-at-home defenseman, does have some scoring ability. He's also able to block some shots. So I think this really shores up San Jose's defense for the playoffs, which is what they were looking to do.
Exactly. Now let's see who you guys thought won this vote. And it seems like they go with me, Toronto Maple Leafs. They say they won that over 78% to 21% towards San Jose. And I've got to agree with it because those 2nd-round picks later on, they're kind of gambling with the type of picks they're going to get. But I think it's a good gamble to make. What do you think?
I think in this instance, everybody's wrong. I think San Jose got the better of the deal.
Ooh, okay then. On to the next one.
Also on February 22nd, the Vancouver Canucks acquired Markus Granlund from the Calgary Flames for Hunter Shinkaruk. And in my mind, that's probably another one of these even trades. It kind of helps out each team so they kind of get what they need for the time.
Exactly.
I don't think there's any big edge here, but what do you think, Logan?
Yeah, I think it's just another one of those even trades. There are a lot of them that we have to cover so far that are just pretty much one-for-one even trades. Now, let's see what you guys think. Who won this? Oh, wow. You guys think Calgary won this by a long shot. 75.87% over a 24.13%. Yeah, I mean,
I can see that a little bit because Markus Granlund is a little bit of a better player. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's that much of a huge gap from 75% to 24%. But hey, that's what the fans think.
It's probably just one of those instances of more Calgary Flames people voting than
it could be.
Canucks.
It could be.
On to the next one. Now, on February 23rd, the Washington Capitals acquired Mike Weber from the Buffalo Sabres, and the Buffalo Sabres out of that deal got a 3rd-round pick in 2017. Now, me personally, I think Washington Capitals won this because Mike Weber is a stay-at-home defenseman. He basically well-rounded out the Washington Capitals and gives them a little bit of boost towards the Stanley Cup. What do you think, Dad?
Yeah, I would agree. The Caps defense has played better this year, and they've always got Holtby in goal. Mm-hmm. And Mike Weber just gives them another good defenseman. Solid, not great, but a solid defenseman who's been kind of a journeyman defenseman with Buffalo for years. And again, I think Buffalo's looking towards the future. Mm-hmm. They've been trying to look towards the future for a few years. So I think maybe this pick may help them out in the future. But in the long run, I definitely give the better to Washington on this one.
So let's see what you guys think. We vote Washington. And you guys agree with us with a 66.59% over a 33.41. Now, there's really nothing to say about this. The Washington Capitals, to me, obviously got the better deal with my brother.
Sure.
On to the next one.
Next trade was on February 24th between the Edmonton Oilers and Vancouver Canucks. Basically did a 2017 5th-round pick from Vancouver for Philip Larsen. I don't think Larsen's going to be great help. He may be called up to play a little bit here towards the end of the season, see what he's got. But he has been playing in the Continental Hockey League. I basically give this one to the Oilers. The Oilers, like those draft picks, and they like to build with their youth. They've been trying for years to build with their youth, and it's starting to pay off, but I think they're looking towards the future too.
Exactly. Now let's see what you guys think. We think Edmonton Oilers. You guys think Canucks, actually, for 60% over 39%. Maybe we just don't know what we're talking about.
Could be.
Yeah, so on to the next one. Now, on February 25th, the Winnipeg Jets did a trade with Chicago Blackhawks, and it seems like the Winnipeg Jets acquired Mark Dano, a first-round pick in 2016, and a conditional third-round pick if Chicago wins the Stanley Cup. Now, the Chicago Blackhawks acquired Andrew Ladd. Well, looks like he's coming home. Matt Frazier and Jay Harrison. Do you have any thoughts, Dad?
I would definitely say Chicago got the better of the deal. I think Ladd can add more depth. Like, Chicago really needs more depth.
Exactly.
I mean, give me a break. They keep adding and adding and adding. They're a very smart team when it comes to trading. They normally don't make huge moves, but they make those middle-of-the-road moves. It just gives them another solid player to add to their roster. And
so they're not very risky with their trades.
Normally, no. Normally, they're not.
Okay.
They don't have to be because they've won so many Stanley Cups in the last several years. They can add a player that's middle of the road, a second-line player, that will add some depth to their line and maybe, play a little bit on the third line. But I think Andrew Ladd's a great addition. Matt Frazier and Jay Harrison, it's kind of a wash with what Winnipeg gave up and what Chicago got with that. But I would definitely say because of Andrew Ladd being added to that, Chicago got the better of the deal.
Okay, so let's see what you guys think. We think Chicago Blackhawks. Let's see. And you guys agree with us with a 69.73% over the 30.27% that the Winnipeg Jets had. And I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yes.
On to the next one.
On February 26th, Chicago Blackhawks acquired Christian Ehrhoff in exchange for Rob Scudry. I think the main reason for these trades is these are both older defensemen that have played in the league for a while, and they just kind of don't fit each team's system. They kind of never fit in with the team, so I think it was just a trade more to kind of give Chicago another defenseman that may play a little bit on the fourth line and give them somebody solid. And the same thing for the Kings. It's kind of funny that these two teams have won the last 4 Stanley Cups, and they're doing a trading together, and they're probably
pretty much just swapping defensemen.
Yeah, and they're probably also favorites again to be contending for the Stanley Cup. I think this one's a wash also. I can't see any team having a big edge on this.
No.
What do you think, Logan?
I think the same. It's pretty much just a swap of defensemen. It's not really going to benefit either one coming towards the Stanley Cup. So let's see what you guys think. We're just going to go with nothing here. Just either team could have had it. And it seems like you guys think the Chicago Blackhawks made the better over 84.26%, and Los Angeles Kings apparently got the crap deal with a 15.74%.
No, I think what honestly happened is people in Chicago love hockey a lot more.
Yeah.
It's their own, it's one of their big teams up there. And people in LA love hockey.
Oh, yeah.
But, the LA markets, it's a different animal when it comes to fans.
Exactly.
Well, like you see, I'm wearing my Kings jersey.
Exactly. So let's get on to another one. And again, on February 26th, Montreal Canadiens made a trade with Chicago Blackhawks, and the Montreal Canadiens acquire Philip Danault and a 2018 second-round draft pick. And Chicago Blackhawks acquire Dale Weiss and Thomas Fleischman?
It's Fleischman.
Fleischman. Yeah. So in this pick, I really do believe the Chicago Blackhawks got the better end of the deal. I know Montreal Canadiens are looking towards the future with that 2018 pick, but I really do think that Chicago got this and won in the bag. What do you think, Doug?
I'll have to totally disagree with that.
Really?
I think Philip Danault is going to be a good player for Montreal for quite a few years.
He's a young player.
He's a very young player, and Chicago can afford to give up those young players because of their depth in their farm system and the depth on their team, and that's why they've won so many Stanley Cups. I would say I'd give the edge to Montreal in this one.
So let's see.
But I'm not shocked that Chicago traded again.
Exactly. So let's see who you guys voted for. We think the Montreal Canadiens, but it looks like I was right, and you guys also think the same with 62.94% over Montreal Canadiens' 37.06%.
We shall see.
Yeah, I guess so. Let's go on to the next one.
On February 27th, the St. Louis Blues decided to do a trade of goalies with the Edmonton Oilers. They traded Anders Nielsen from their farm system, their Chicago team, and picked up Nicholas Lundstrom and a 2016 fifth-round draft pick. At first, Anders Nilsson was assigned to the Chicago affiliate of the AHL, but he's been called up since then, and Copley has been sent down by the Blues. So Nilsson is now Jake Allen's backup. On this deal, I would say, to me, it's also an even one, and I'd also like to say I'm very shocked that the Blues didn't do more.
This is their only trade.
This is a team that has not done well in the playoffs. This is a team that consistently loses in the first round. I'm not sure what type of message this sends the players. Does it send the players the message that we have confidence in you, you guys can get us, past where we're at, or does it send the players the message of we don't care? I guess we'll see. But I guess if you want to look at it and try to come up with a winner, I would say Edmonton, because they got a draft pick with it.
Now, I would say at first glance it looks like Edmonton Oilers won this pick, and I will have to agree with that. But it seems like this is, if it were up to the Blues, it seems like they wouldn't trade at all. I think this is a necessary pick. With Allen being out with a lower body injury, I think that this was more of a necessary pick. I mean, a necessary trade than they wanted to do this trade. What do you think?
I don't know. Phoenix Copley is a decent goalie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much Anders Nilsson's going to be better.
Yeah.
He's 6'5", which is a bigger goalie.
Oh yeah,
which the Blues have had in their system, but always tend to trade away. And Steven Bishop, who's now playing for Tampa Bay, but it looks like he's that type of goaltender, and maybe that's what they wanted back in their system. And I guess we'll see in the playoffs, and we'll see what happens when Brian Elliott comes back in around 3.5-4 weeks. If he comes back, then with that lower body injury.
Now let's see who you guys think won this trade. I think Blues. My dad. Well, actually, I think Oilers. I think this was more of a necessary pick.
I think the Oilers too.
So let's see. Yep, you guys agree. Actually, it's kind of even almost.
It's pretty close.
It's 54 over 45%, going towards the Edmonton Oilers side, and I guess it's mostly even.
Yeah, it's pretty split. Pretty close to being split, 50-50 almost.
So let's go on to the next one. Now, on February 27th, the San Jose Sharks acquired James Remire and Jeremy Morin from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it looks like the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Alex Stullock, Ben Smith, and a 4th-round conditional pick. Now, in this one, I believe San Jose Sharks got the better deal because James Remire is a very, very good goaltender, and he's most likely going to round out their team. And yeah, I actually think San Jose Sharks got the better deal. What do you think?
I think San Jose did too. James Remire is a very good goaltender. It's sad to see him be stuck in a place like Toronto, who's building, up their team and trying to get draft picks like we've seen through the trades this week. I think it's possible, though, he'll be an unrestricted free agent after this year, after his play with San Jose in the regular season and playoffs. It adds depth to San Jose's team, but I think it's possible he may be back with Toronto next year.
Yep.
But I would say I'd agree with you. I think San Jose got the best of this deal.
Okay, let's see what you guys think. And it looks like you guys agree with us with a 77.6% over to the Toronto Maple Leafs, 22.4%. And we're going to have to agree with you. There's really nothing else much to say. So let's go on to the next one.
On the 27th, one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, the Florida Panthers, acquired Yuri Hudler from the Calgary Flames for a 2016 second-round pick and a 2018 fourth-round pick. I think that's a good deal. Hudler is in his final year of a 4-year, $16 million contract, so he'll be a free agent. So basically he's a rent-a-player for Florida. But I think Florida's very serious on making a run for the Stanley Cup this year. They've played great all year long.
I'm very surprised at Florida.
I am too. They've always been at the top of the Eastern Conference. Their defense is good. Their goaltending's good. They've got scoring from several different players, and their lines are solid. I would see them going far in this, but I definitely pick Florida over this. And Calgary's basically looking for the future with these draft picks.
And I'm pretty much going to have to agree with you. Florida Panthers really looking to win the Stanley Cup this year. Let's see what you guys think. And it seems like you guys are actually for us with the 56.63%.
Wow, that's lower than what I thought.
I thought it would be a huge, more in the 80%, but it seems like you guys are mostly even with this 43.37% of Calgary Flames. So I guess we'll see when the Stanley Cup comes around, but until then, let's go.
There's a lot of rabid hockey fans in Calgary, so they're excited about any move that gives them draft picks.
Oh, yeah.
They're always looking towards the future, so...
So let's go on to the next one. And on the 27th, it looks like Florida again made a deal with the Edmonton Oilers. It seems like they acquired Teddy Purcell And it looks like the Oilers acquired a third-round pick. Now, in this one, Teddy Purcell is a free agent, an unrestricted free agent after the season. And it looks like Florida's just pushing and pushing. And I really do think they're going to be a really big contender in this year's Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I think they will too. Teddy Purcell is an average to midline player. He just adds some more depth. He's 30 years old. He's been in the league a while. Oh, yeah. I think he's had 11 goals and 21 assists this season. So he gives you probably 15 goals a season, which is, a good third-line player, solid player. I think they'll be very happy with him. And like you said, they keep making deals, and it's not for nothing. They want the Stanley Cup this year.
They're pushing for it.
But let's see what everybody else thinks.
Exactly. So we think it's the Florida Panthers that won this one. Let's see what you guys think. And it seems like, you guys agree with us with a 64.36% over Edmonton Oilers, if I can speak, a 35.64%. So, there's nothing really to talk about. It looks like the Florida Panthers are really, really pushing for the Stanley Cup. It's on to the next one.
And for the third time on February 27th, the Panthers stay active again. They acquire Jakob Kindl from the Detroit Red Wings for a 6th-round pick in the 2017 draft. I think this is a great trade. I would shock that it's a 6th round. I thought they might be able to have to give up a 4th or 5th. But I think this fits them really well, too. This adds another player. He's got around 20 postseason appearances, 19-20 postseason appearances. And I think it's just going to add more depth to the defense of Florida, which is what they, that wins in the playoffs. You most of the time you have those low-scoring 1-0, 2-1, 3-2 games. And you need that defense, and I definitely say Florida got the best of this one.
Oh, yeah. I'll be very surprised if Florida doesn't make it to the last round of the Stanley Cup.
Me also.
Exactly. So let's see. We think Florida won. Let's see what you guys think. It agreed with us again over 66.71% over the Detroit Red Wings 33.29%. And it looks like Detroit Red Wings are looking for the future, but it seems like Florida is here in the now trying to win this year's Stanley Cup. So let's go on to the next one. And there seems to be a lot of trades on the 27th because Pittsburgh Penguins traded with the Edmonton Oilers, and it looks like the Penguins got Justin Schultz, and the Oilers got a 3rd-round pick in 2016. Now, in this one, at first glance, it does seem that Pittsburgh Penguins won this one, but on the other hand, the Oilers got rid of Justin, and they don't have to pay half their contract anymore. It looks like Pittsburgh is paying half of his contract for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think it was just a contract move, maybe free some stuff up for other trades or something else that Edmonton wanted to do. Justin Schultz, I would say it's an okay trade. It's not a big trade. Pretty even, I would say.
But for me, I'm gonna have to say that the Oilers won this one. So let's see what you guys think. And you guys agree? It's pretty much half and half, actually. Oilers with a 50-50. 55.72%, and with the Penguins with a 44.28%. So pretty much an even trade, almost. So let's go to the next one.
On the 27th, Buffalo and Ottawa basically completed a minor league player deal. Buffalo acquired Alex Guptill, Eric Odell, Cole Schneider, and Michael Sato. And Ottawa acquired Jason Atkinson, Phil Verone, and Jeremy Liddick. I think this is just another basically even
I have
trade.
no opinions on
I have
this
no
trade.
opinion on this one either. I don't know if the fans do. I don't personally don't know a ton about these players. I just think we need to look in the future, maybe a year or two from now, and see who got the better of this trade.
Exactly. So let's see what you guys think. You guys think the Ottawa Senators got the better deal with a 57.91% over the Sabres 42.09%. So like we said, we have pretty much no opinion on this. Let's go to the next one. Now on the 28th, a big surprise, big deal between the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes. It looks like New York Rangers got Eric Staal. He goes from one brother to the other. He leaves Jordan, goes to Mark. And it looks like Carolina Hurricanes acquired a 2016 second-round pick and a 2017 second-round pick. Plus, he gets Alexi Sorella. And I actually think it really depends on what type of person you are, but I actually think that the New York Rangers got the better deal. And it looks like Hurricanes are looking towards the future. But what do you think, Ben?
I definitely think that the Rangers got the best of the deal because Eric Staal was one of the top two, if not the top trade bait out there, and there have been many teams try to get him. And the Carolina Hurricanes tried their best to re-sign him because it's $55 million 7-year deal ends this year, and he'll be a free agent. So he goes to New York for the rest of the regular season and playoffs, and maybe he'll like it there. Maybe he'll resign. I think New York will probably have the cap space to do it, but if I'm Eric Staal, I probably go out into the free agent market just to see what's out there.
Exactly.
He's at the right age, the right time to get even great money, more money than he got with a $55 million contract. But I think the Rangers got the best of the deal, and they only get better. And they are one of the top teams along with Florida in the Eastern Conference. So I think they got a lot better with this deal.
Now let's see what you guys think. We think the Rangers, and hopefully you guys think too. And yes, you do. I'd actually think it would be a better deal, but it seems like you guys are going pretty much 50-50 with a 57.08% over the Rangers, and the Hurricanes got a 42.92% over the Hurricanes. So I thought it would be a lot less even than it actually is.
I thought it'd be about 80-20.
Yeah, that I have nothing to say against your guys' voting, but I highly disagree with that. But that was a huge pick on Saturday. I can't believe that actually happened. That was a mind blowing for me. Well, let's go on to the next one.
And on February 28th, one of the contenders in the West Conference, the Los Angeles Kings, acquired Chris Versteeg from the Carolina Hurricanes for Valentine Zykov and a 5th-round pick conditional. And I think this trade helps the Kings. Carolina's made a few trades. They got rid of Staal. Looks like they're still staying active. The Kings always seem to, no matter what position they finish in, 4th, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, it seems like they are always there in the playoffs and are a tough team to play in the playoffs. So I definitely give this one to the Kings.
Yep, same here. And it looks like Carolina Hurricanes are looking towards the future with Valentine's, what is that, Zykov?
It's Zykov.
Any last name that starts with a Z is always hard for me, sorry. But Valentine's Zykov and a 5th-round pick, and that's conditional. Yeah, I really do think this goes to the King. Let's see what you guys have to think about it. You guys think, wow. This is the type of numbers I wanted to see for last trade. Yeah. 70.19% for the Kings and a 29.81% for the Hurricanes.
I figured it would be that.
Yeah, but I actually figured these numbers the previous trade, but I guess not. Yeah. Let's go on to the next one.
Great. On Sunday, February 28th, the New York Rangers decided to get in the trading mood again, and they traded Chris Brown. No, that is not the famous R&B singer Chris Brown.
Are you sure?
Yeah, not the one that beat up on Rihanna. No, it's not that Chris Brown.
He knows how to skate?
I don't know. Maybe he does. He skated his way out of getting in trouble for that. So Anyway, the Rangers acquired Chris Brown from the Capitals for Ryan Bourque. I think the Capitals got a better deal on this one. It's close to even, but I would give the edge to the Capitals for Ryan Bourque. I like Ryan Bourque as a player and think he adds a lot for the Capitals, gives them some depth for the playoffs.
Yeah. So let's see what you guys think. I have no opinion on this, but I guess my dad says Washington Capitals. And you guys actually think the Rangers. More towards the Rangers side. More of a 50-50, but it's 54.76 for the Rangers and a 45.24% for the Capitals. It seems like we don't agree with you, Dad. What do you have to say about that?
I'm used to that.
You're used to it? Okay. Well, on to the next one. And on the 28th, it looks like the Capitals got back into the trading game. They acquired Daniel Winnik and a 5th-round pick from Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Connor Carrick and Brooks Leach. What is that?
It's Leach.
Leach. And a 2nd-round pick in 2016. Now, on this one, it looks like the Washington Capitals won this one because Winnik is a veteran winger, and he has 10 assists, 4 goals, pretty much better than average player. And he actually thanked Maple Leafs on Twitter, and he said he wanted to thank them about the excitement of possibly competing for the Stanley Cup with Washington. And yeah, I really do think that the Washington Capitals won this one. What do you think?
I definitely agree. I think they won this one, and I think it's a class act of Winnik to do to thank his old team.
Exactly.
I think that's always great when players do that.
Yeah. So we think the Capitals won this one, and the reason why we don't think Toronto won is because Connor and Brooks, they're kind of midline to average players, and that 2nd-round pick sounds juicy enough, but when you look at Winnik, he just seems better in the moment. So let's see. It looks like whoa, we got blown out of the water in this one. It looks like Toronto Maple Leafs, 84.53%. I think that's the highest percent that we've had so far against
us.
Washington. Yeah, against us, and the Washington Capitals 15.4.
I think this one, Logan, we're going to have to agree to disagree with the fans, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I guess so. On to the next one.
And on February 29th, the Pittsburgh Penguins acquired Matthias Plotnick and a conditional 7th-round pick from the Arizona Coyotes for Sergei Plotnikov. And I think Sergei was kind of struggling with Pittsburgh, and it gives him a fresh start. He's a young player. He's got a lot of upside.
He just doesn't. He wasn't really doing well.
He wasn't gelling well in Pittsburgh, and I think maybe a fresh start will give this young kid maybe a boost of confidence, and that another team wants him. I actually think Arizona got the best of this one.
I do too, because a conditional 7th-round pick, that's nothing to brag about. And Sergei has a lot of potential. He just doesn't. He wasn't doing very well in the team he was at. So we say Arizona. Let's see what you guys think. It looks like you guys disagree with us with the Pittsburgh Penguins getting 67.66% over Arizona Coyotes 32.34%. Again, it's agree to disagree. I really do think Sergei has a lot of potential. Matthias is also a very good player, but in the long run, if we're looking pure long run, I think Sergei is going to be a better player down the road, because he was just not in the environment he was in. He wasn't thriving. And when you put something in a different environment, it'll probably do better than what it was in its previous environment.
Well, I think also a lot of times when you have a star like Sidney Crosby, and you have Evgeny Malkin, 2 stars, and you bring in a young player that's got star potential, sometimes it kind of hinders their growth. So maybe this will help him out.
Exactly. Okay, let's go on to the next one. And on the 29th, the very last minute, around 1 p.m., Carolina acquired Dennis Robertson from Chicago, and Chicago in return got Drew McIntyre. And it seems like this is more of a really last minute trying to switch it up. And I actually think this is more of an even trade. What do you think?
I think it's even, Steven.
Yep. So let's go even. You guys think Chicago Blackhawks got the
Holy
better
cow.
deal by 75.57% over the Hurricanes 24.43%. Holy cow, maybe there's something we're missing. But
no, we're not missing anything. There's a lot of diehard hockey fans in Chicago.
On to the next one.
On the last day of the trading deadline today, February 29th, the Arizona Coyotes and Colorado Avalanche got into a deal that actually made one of the bigger players available move. Arizona got Alex Tanguay, Connor Bleakley, and Kyle Wood in exchange for Mikhail Bodker. Bodker was one of the top couple players that other teams were trying to get. Solid player. Is going to add a lot to any team he goes to, but I think he's going to give Colorado something they've needed for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to give them goals. He's going to give them assists. He's a good player that's going to he's going to only get better in my mind. Tanguay going to Arizona, and he's been in the league a while. He's a solid player, but I would give the edge to this one to Colorado.
I would have to agree with you, Dad. Mikhail Bodker is just a fantastic player. And I know they had to trade 3 pretty much decent. Actually, it looks like Bleakley has 41 points in 47 games. It's nothing to laugh out there. But I really do think in the long run, Colorado got the better deal. And it's really just going to give them more depth. And we think that Colorado got it. Let's see. You guys think? You're actually with us this time. Colorado Avalanche 52.72%. over the Arizona Coyotes 47.28%. It's more of a even, but at the end, this was a pretty big trade. I think this was the biggest trade of the day, being last minute, that is.
I would say it was the second biggest trade of the week besides Eric Staal, one of the Rangers.
Especially with this being in the very last day, it seems like they were going with the wire. I heard a lot of rumors saying the Avalanche was looking to grab Bodker, and it seems like they got it. So, on to the next one.
And again, on the last day of the trading deadline, the Dallas Stars finally got real active and acquired Chris Russell from the Calgary Flames for Jyrki Jokipaka, Brett Pollock, and a second-round draft pick in 2016. Yes, it is. I think it's a good trade for both teams. Dallas has been playing very well, and they've lost a couple in a row, but I think for the most part they're going to be a solid team going into the playoffs. Calgary, I think Calgary actually got the better part of this deal. I think. For now and for the future, they got the better part of this deal in my mind.
Exactly. Even though the second-round pick is conditional, that's still a second-round pick, and that can really help them in the future. Trading Chris Russell was a sort of a loss to Calgary, but they're getting 2 great players for the deal. So I believe that the Calgary Flames won this. Let's see what you guys think. And you guys agree with us with a marginal difference of 70.73% over the Stars, 29.27%. I really do think this was a bad move for Dallas. Yes, they did get a very good player, but in the end, it looks like Calgary Flames is going to get the better player. At around 2 p.m., the Florida Panthers made another trade, and it looks like they're looking towards the future with a 6th-round pick in 2016. And the Anaheim Ducks acquired Brandon Peary for that trade, and I think that actually, I'm going to have to say Florida Panthers won this one.
I'm going to have to say the Panthers won it for the future, and the Ducks won it for now. The Ducks are the hottest team in the Western Conference right now. They've won either 6 or 7 straight in a row. And they're starting to gel at the right time, right towards the last part of the season. So I would say actually Anaheim added to this, and I would give the edge to the Ducks.
Yep. So for now, it looks like the Ducks won, but for later, and that 6th-round pick is going to come real handy for the Panthers. So let's see what you guys think. We think, well, I'm just going to go ahead and say Ducks for us. And it looks like, whoa! Oh my goodness, that is the biggest difference I've ever seen. Ducks got a 97.76% over the Florida Panthers, 2.24%. A lot of people do not agree with this trade. Oh my goodness.
I can't believe it's that much.
Woo.
But the fans have spoken.
They've spoken for 97.76%.
Very loudly.
Exactly. So let's go on to the next one.
Also today, the Colorado Avalanche acquired Eric Jelinek from the New Jersey Devils for a 3rd-round pick in next year's 2017 draft. Not another big deal, just another defenseman to maybe add some depth and a little more stay-at-home type defenseman. Doesn't score a lot. I just think it just adds some 4th and 3rd-line depth to the Avalanche's defensive core. I think this is a crapshoot when it comes to who got the best, but I'm just going to throw a quarter in the air and say Colorado.
I'm going to actually have to say the Devils because that's a 3rd-round draft pick next year. They're looking way towards the future. And not only that, it's just Eric Jelinek he's an okay player. I'm not saying he's the worst player, but I think the 3rd-round draft pick is worth more than him. So I'm going to have to go say New Jersey Devils. And it seems like I am being disagreed with. And it looks like, Dad, you won this one with a 74.92% for the Avalanche and a 25.8% towards the Devils. It just goes to show you how age really matters in this game.
It's like the old show and the old saying, Father knows best.
Exactly. So let's go on to the next one. And just after the trade deadline, around 3:19 p.m., the Boston Bruins traded with the New Jersey Devils, and it looks like the Boston Bruins got Lee Stepniak, and the Devils got, oh my goodness, they got a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick. That is pretty big, but it looks like Lee Stepniak is a veteran winger and is scheduled to become an unrestricted free agent after the season. Now, Stepniak has 16 goals and 25 assists in 63 games. That's a pretty big deal. I actually don't know who won this one. What do you think, Dad?
Boston won this one.
Boston won this one?
Yeah, I think Lee Stepniak's a smaller player, a quick player. He started out his career with the St. Louis Blues and moved to Toronto. He's been with several other teams after that. I think this gives Boston more scoring. New Jersey again is.
I think it adds like more forward.
Yeah, it adds more forward depth and it definitely gives them some more scoring to go into the playoffs. And hey, if you can get somebody that scores 15 to 20, 22 goals a year, at the end of February to add to your team, I don't think you're hurting yourself. So I give this one to Boston.
I would have to agree with you there. Let's see what you guys think. It looks like you guys are with us for 55.98%. And it looks like New Jersey Devils 44.02%. Now, the farther we go down in the line of trades, the more even it's going to be just because of the fact that these happened very recently. It's actually 5 p.m. and the last trade that happened was at 4:37.
It's 5 p.m. Central and the trading deadline was 3 p.m. Eastern.
Exactly. So we're actually just around that corner.
Yep.
So let's go on to the next one.
And also today, after the 3 o'clock Eastern deadline, and that some more trades were announced, including this one. The Ottawa Senators acquire a 3rd-round pick for Shane Price and a 7th-round pick to the New York Islanders. This is just a quick trade. I don't think any team really benefits greatly from it. I think it's just one player wasn't fitting in with the other team, so they found another player to replace him, and I think that's about it. So I think this is a tie. If you want to give it a little bit to the Senators, you might want to lean that way. Like I said, this is one of those trades that's announced after 3 p.m. What happens is, to those that don't know, as long as the trade deals get to the league office, before 3 o'clock.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter when they're announced. So this trade was, of course, announced around 3:29. So I would say the Senators, but you could say the Islanders. And if this is not 50-50, I'm going to be shocked.
Yeah. For me, I think the Ottawa really wanted just a better pick, and they're like, hey, we'll throw in a sweetener. If you give us, the Islanders were more like, if you give us Shane Prince, you're not going to miss him, but you get your third-round pick. And they got the 7th-round pick. I think Shane was pretty much just a sweetener for the deal.
Yeah, probably.
So let's just go Ottawa, and you guys think more Ottawa. Actually, no. You guys think Islanders. It's not really even. It's 69.7% for the Islanders, and the Senators got a 30 point.
Now, if he was a sweetener for the deal, is he like Splenda or is he sweet and low?
He's more stevia.
Stevia, okay.
Exactly.
The natural sweetener.
Exactly.
Great, awesome. Let's go on to the next one.
Exactly. Now, today around 3:33 p.m., it was announced that the Boston Bruins acquired John Michael Lillis from the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes got Anthony Camara out of the deal, a 3rd-round pick in 2016, and a 5th-round pick in 2017. Now, Lillis, 35, has 15 points in 64 games. Pretty an average player, but I think Boston is really trying to add some defensive depth to its little ecosystem it's got going on. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think this is just a depth trade for Boston, just to add a little bit more depth to their 3rd and 4th lines. And it's just something that a lot of teams do at the last. You know, they want to be able to have rested players for the playoffs and be able to throw a bunch of people out there during the playoffs that have had some rest because of acquisitions in the trade deadline.
Exactly.
I'd say Boston.
I'd say Boston too. Let's see what you guys think. You guys think the Hurricanes, but it's more of a 50-50. Hurricanes with their 55.56% over the Bruins 4.44%.
I think, Logan, what's going to happen with these later trades, the ones after 1 o'clock today, I think you're going to see that change. The votes are going to change. By tomorrow, these votes will be totally different than what we're talking about today. And like I said, I think it's Boston, but apparently you guys disagree. But let's go on to the next one.
Exactly.
And around 3:40 p.m. today, it was announced that the Canadiens acquired Stefan Matteau from the New Jersey Devils for Devontae Smith-Pelly. And I definitely think Montreal got the best of this deal. He is a veteran who can add a little bit of leadership to their team, and I think that might be what they're looking for. They have a lot of young players. So I would give this one to the Canadiens.
Yep. For me, it's more of a even. I really think that the Smith-Pelly really adds something to the New Jersey Devils, and same goes with Stefan or Stefan? I think it's Stefan.
Stefan Matteau.
Yeah, I really think it's an even, but my dad goes more towards the Canadiens.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go with Canadiens. You guys thought, yep, Canadiens, 64.6% over the Devils, 35.4%. And as I said before, for me, it's more even, but it looks like you think it's different?
Yep.
Okay. On to the next one. Now, around 3:53 p.m., the Ducks acquired Jamie McGinn from the Sabres, and the Sabres acquired a conditional 3rd-round pick. Now, most people believe that the condition on the pick is believed to be that if the Ducks advance to the Western Conference, the pick will become a 2017 2nd-round pick instead of its conditional 3rd-round pick in 2016. But for the Ducks, it seems like they acquired Jamie McGinn more to get their depth. To basically just enhance the depth.
I think it's just for the playoffs.
Yep.
It's to add depth to the roster. He's around probably 15 to 20 goal scorer each year, maybe between 15 and 22 assists. So he's a middle-of-the-road player. Been playing in Buffalo for a little bit. He's around 27 years old. I definitely give Anaheim the up on this one, that they got the best of this one.
I do too, because I don't think it's worth it for a condition. For a player, just a condition.
Now, if
a little sweetener on there for it.
If that 3rd-round pick, if the Anaheim Ducks make it to the Western semifinals or the Western Finals, I think then that pick could become a 2nd-round 2017. Buffalo could be looking at a good future with a 2nd-round 2017 pick. But we'll see after that.
But for now, let's go with the Anaheim Ducks. Let's see what you guys have to say. And it looks like you guys are right there with us with an 82.07% for the Ducks and a 17.93% for the Sabres. And there's really nothing more to say about this. The Ducks obviously got the better deal unless the condition is met. On to the next one.
The last trades of the day, the LA Kings acquired Brett Sutter from the Minnesota Wild for Scott Saborin. And this is just another last minute, I'll give you a player. You take one of mine. I think they fit better in our system. kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So I think it's a jump up of who got the best of this deal.
Exactly. There wasn't really much thought put into this deal.
I'm sure there was thought put into it, but it wasn't like, oh, if we get rid of this player, we're not going to make it to the playoffs. I just think it's a...
Let me rephrase that. It wasn't given as much thought as most of the bigger deals before it. But let's just go ahead and say even. Let's see what you guys thought. It looks like you guys think the Kings made off with a better deal with a 78.57% over the Wild's 21.43%. Now, in this one, don't really have any information to give you there. It's just, for me and my dad, it seems like we're going even. I'll give you a trader that fits. I'll give you a player that fits better in our system.
Plus, he's a Sutter, which the head coach of the Kings is a Sutter. So.
Oh, well, that probably makes it a big deal. Now, for the last trade of the day, it's more of a quick trade. The Ottawa Senators acquired Michael Karenin from the Minnesota Wild, and the Minnesota Wild acquired Connor Allen. Now, what do you have to say?
Really nothing.
Yeah, pretty much same here.
I mean, it's a last-minute deal that these are not big-time players. They're role players that add to each team, and I'm sure each player will add something to their new teams.
You know what? Let's go with the Minnesota Wild. Just for
Let's
fun.
do that.
And it seems like for the last one, we're wrong for no apparent reason because we didn't really put much thought into this. But the Ottawa Senators won with their 66.2% over the Wild's 33.8%. Now, today we've talked about a lot of trades that happened from the 21st up until now, the very end of the trading deadline. But now it's time for the winners and the losers of the trading deadline.
My top winners of the day, one of them would be Anaheim. I think Anaheim made some trades that weren't huge splashes, but they were minor drops to middle of the way drops into the bucket. I think what happened was they said, hey, we've been winning a lot. We've got the team gelling. Let's add a couple players to add some depth, some experience. So when we get in the playoffs, we've got that extra depth and experience, and we can go farther in the playoffs with our defensive help and a guy on one of our front lines. And Logan, what did you think of one of the top teams?
I think the obvious winner of this whole trading deadline, Anaheim did make great moves. They made middle-of-the-line moves to basically get more depth. But the real big winner is the Florida Panthers. Oh my goodness, they are definitely the winners for this this trading deadline. What do you think?
I definitely think they are. I think just like Anaheim, they added depth.
Yep.
They added players that know how to play in the playoffs. They added players that play. They elevate their game in the playoffs. And that's what you want your players to do. Just as like I said with the Anaheim Ducks, that their trade, the way that they did the lookout for the trade and what they did, to me, it's very similar to what Florida did. We want to win. We want to win now. Let's add these pieces, these small to midline pieces in our puzzle that give us a better, stronger puzzle, a more cohesive unit.
Exactly. And the only reason I say the Florida Panthers won this one is because they did that, and they also looked towards the future with some of the picks that they got from other teams. And it's really good to have that balance of wanting to win right here and now and also looking towards the future, because if you look mostly here and now, you're going to be screwed later on in the future when you didn't have those picks and drops when you needed them the most.
Yeah, exactly. And another team that made a big splash, they weren't one of the top two teams that added everything, was the Rangers, of course, with getting Eric Staal. That was the biggest splash out of all the trades, was getting Eric Staal.
If we had to name a biggest splash, it would be Eric Staal.
I think Eric Staal brings a lot to the Rangers, and I think the Rangers had to make a big move because of Florida.
Yep.
They see how good Florida is, and they know if they have to play Florida, they have to have another big player in their lineup. They've got the goaltending, they've got some good defense, but they had to add Eric Staal to their lineup. And that would be the biggest splash. There's a couple teams, I think, that were, I don't know if they say big losers, but teams that needed to make more moves.
I could say losers. I could say losers.
I know where he's going, but I'm going to say the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
The Dallas Stars are a very good team, and they made some minor moves.
They made like 2.
But I'm shocked that they did not make more.
Oh, yeah.
They're a solid team. They play you hard on defense. Their goaltending is good.
Could you say that maybe their solid team is the fact that they didn't do any trades?
Well, yeah.
Because you don't want to mess up a good thing?
I guess you could say that. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, then, by all means, look at it that way. But I think they still needed to add another good, solid defenseman,
Oh, yeah.
possibly in the back to help out their goaltender.
You can never go wrong with
You
defense.
can't go wrong with defense in the playoffs. I mean, like I said earlier, those games are going to be 2-1, 1-2, 1-0, and you want that defense and a goaltender to be able to stop those last-minute surges by that team that's going to give you those last-minute surges when the game is that close.
Oh, yeah.
And I know where Logan's going, and I'm disappointed in them too, but I'm going to let him talk a little bit.
So, the Blues. We live in St. Louis. We go to the games. But, man, Blues, what were you thinking? You guys, when you needed to do almost all the trading, you did little to none. You made maybe 2 trades or 1, if I'm correct in saying so. But you guys really need to step it up. You're not doing so hot. And you know how you get when you go into the playoffs. You get knocked out in around the second or first round. And it's just doesn't look good to your team or your fans who are looking for you to make those big, huge trades that makes you just a little bit better towards maybe the top players, and you guys just fell short. You fell short.
Yeah, I would say so. In a mid-level, hard-working blue-collar town, you know, your $650,000 to $60,000 family that, you know, isn't poor, but they're doing okay. That wants to go to the game. You know, they've maybe put their season tickets on a credit card and they're paying $125 to $150 a ticket for lower bowl seats, and you just don't do anything. I'm just shocked, and I may be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong.
Oh yeah.
But I get the feeling the Blues will be a one and done again in the playoffs, or make it to the second round and losing 4 straight or losing 5 games. And you know, I hate to say it, but Ken Hitchcock's got to go. He's not getting to the players. And when it comes to the playoffs, you've got to add that extra gear. And you can look at all these other teams. They look faster in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
They hit harder in the playoffs. The Blues, they stand around and they move. The other team will have a power play, and they just stand around and let the other team move the puck, and they end up losing the games. They don't do anything. I'm highly disappointed in them. Please, Blues, do something to change the team in the offseason. Because if you don't, I think you're going to continue to lose fans. You've got a great fan base. Yeah, the St. Louis Rams left, and you might be getting some of their money from their fans, but don't think it's going to be easy. You've got to still compete with other teams. They're talking about bringing in a Major League Soccer team, and even though I'm not a big soccer fan, there's a lot of huge soccer fans in St. Louis. And those soccer fans, a lot of them are Blues fans too. They will take that money and put it towards the professional soccer team. They won't put that. You know, the cheapest ticket I think is $30 to $35. They won't pay $35
to see a losing
to go
team.
See a team they know is going to lose in the first round in 4 to 6 games.
They might score maybe once or twice, but then the whole rest of their game they're trying to fight to basically. They don't fight to win; they fight not to lose, and that's not the way. Yeah,
the Blues play similar to the way the St. Louis Rams, Jeff Fisher's way of playing,
which is
way. We're going to play not to lose. We're going to play to keep you close until that last period or the last quarter with the Rams, and we're going to keep you close, and then we're going to let our defense come in and make you make some mistakes. I don't agree with that. I played hockey. I've played baseball, organized baseball, and you have to play to win every second of that game. If you're ahead 5-2, you go into maybe a little bit of a defensive posture and don't make a lot of the plays that that may be a little tricky, that maybe get you in trouble, but you still go after that team and try to score.
Exactly.
You don't lay back and dump the punk in and one pass and you're done and trade. You don't do that, because when you get to
short bursts, basically you don't try all your best for that first period, and the rest of the period you're just trying not to lose. That it doesn't really make any sense.
I think it's very frustrating for any fan of any team that plays that way.
Yep.
You know, the Blues aren't the only team that has high promise during the regular season, and then get in the playoffs and they just stink. They don't look like the same team. They don't have that extra gear. We're not trying to harp on the Blues. It's just that's where we live by, and we've seen it a lot. So I think we'll end the show on that note. Let's hope the Blues do well. Let's hope Dallas does well, even though they didn't make the trades. I think that Anaheim and the Panthers will do well in the playoffs, along with several other teams. I think our fans can look forward to our playoff preview when we know what the seeds are. We'll go over the weaknesses and strengths of each team, and maybe we'll pick a lower seed. Maybe we'll pick that number 8 seed to beat that number 1 seed if we see some bad things in that number 1 seed. we will totally be unbiased with you.
Thank you guys so much for watching this very, very, very long video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like. Go down in the comment section below. Tell us what your favorite trades were. And if you dislike the show, that's okay too. Go ahead and pop a dislike. It doesn't matter to us. Either way, just go ahead and do that. Follow us on our social media pages. All the links are down below. But other than that, I'm Logan.
And I'm Lance.
And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll get the drop on all of you guys next time. Have a great night.